So for a very long time on the internet, there has been a debate between people on if the PlayStation Vita or the Nintendo 3DS is actually the better console. So today I want to compare them both and compare their hardware and software to actually see which one is better, of course, in my opinion. And let me know your opinion. Comment down below if you prefer the PlayStation Vita or the 3DS. I'll make sure to read it. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so moving over to the actual systems here, you can see that on the left we have the PlayStation Vita. Of course, this is the 1000 model with the OLED screen. And then on the left here, we have the new 3DS XL. And the reason that I am picking the new 3DS XL over some of the other ones is I want to give it a fair chance, which I just wanted to make sure that we put the best of the best from both the Vita and the 3DS line head on. As you can see, there it is, the OLED screen that I was mentioning before. And this screen is absolutely gorgeous. If you've never seen the OLED Vita like in your hands, oh man, it is just a very, very nice screen. And it goes to say too, there's actually a few hardware features that the 3DS doesn't even have. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see it on camera, but there are little tiny dots on the back here, and what that is a touchpad. Now, most games, they didn't take advantage of the touchpad. That's just one of the things. Like, it was a very much forgotten feature of this console, but like Super Stardust Delta right here, I believe that game actually does take advantage of it. So like there are some games out there, it's nothing like the DS. It never got taken advantage of like those systems. But moving over to the 3DS, every freaking game on this system uses the touchscreen in some way. Like they made that work so well. Now, what made the 3DS so awesome and something the Vita doesn't have is the 3D effect. Now, it is incredible how good that actually tracks the 3D, because on the original 3DSs, whenever you would turn it like this, it would just like get lost and almost give me a headache and stuff, and I was only like 11, so it screwed me up. Maybe that's why I'm all screwed, I don't know, who knows. This definitely feels like the most premium DS out of the entire lineup, but comparing it to the Vita, this thing just smokes it, because this thing is like it's not all metal, but like you can see it has some, like there's some like real metal in here, man. It's nice. And this is that Super Stardust Delta game I was talking about. The Vita does have a really good little catalog for the time it was on the market, and the big thing about the Vita is the homebrew on this thing. It's crazy. Sony did like try to like ditch it early on in its life just because of the sales and all that. But the thing is that, like I was saying, the homebrew on that thing is like incredible. But moving over to the 3DS, Nintendo put so much into this system because they were going on to the Wii U and that failed. So this was kind of their piggyback for when that actually did fail, because they knew that it was going to sell well. So the actual catalog on this thing is like huge. Like first party support for this is crazy. It really depends on the kind of audience that you're going for. I know myself, I will tell you that I actually do prefer having Nintendo games and all that because they're just like a lot of fun, and I love the whole pick up and play thing. Again, with the Vita, there's like Super Stardust HD. I do love that. There are some other games on the Vita that I do love, but when it comes to actual gaming, I do prefer the 3DS side of things just because of the first party support from Nintendo. So another cool thing about both systems is they both each have their own take on classic games being able to be actually played on each system. So like this one plays PSP games really well, surprisingly. It also has ports of PS2 games and PS1 games available on the store. So like you can actually go back and play a lot of games on here, surprisingly. Like, and again, because it feels so premium, this is a great little device if you just want to play some PlayStation games like from a backlog or something. And then of course you come over to the 3DS and then you can play like a whole like metric whack ton of games. Like there is like from like the past, of course, for Virtual Console, because on PlayStation it's PlayStation Classics, and then on the 3DS it's the Virtual Console. Like there you go, you got a Game Boy game. Like you can just go back and play like so much of Nintendo's actual history. And even on this modded system, again, once you mod the systems, it opens it up to like a whole bunch of stuff. Like I was saying with the Vita, with all the homebrew, same thing goes for the 3DS. Like I actually have Virtual Boy on here and it plays in 3D like the original Virtual Boy did. So like that's a really cool thing as well. And one of the big things about these consoles is they did have storefronts. Now, one thing I can commend the PS Vita is that it is still up. It actually is still up, but they did announce that it is shutting down next year in July of 2027. So you can actually still go on the PS Vita store and explore and buy games and all that. But the eShop, it's been shut down for a couple of years now. I think 2023 is when it did shut down. So it's actually been a few years, kind of just like a more of a desolate system, but mainly when it's stock. When you do mod the system, it opens it up to so much more possibilities that you can't normally do on a stock system anyway. But again, having the two devices side by side, which one do I think is actually the best. Now, I'm going to go into this by saying that these devices are very much for two different people, which makes it very, very hard to actually give a good answer other than I would say, what would I recommend to somebody nowadays? I would say, honestly, if you're more into just Nintendo games, then obviously go with that one. And if you're definitely into like PlayStation games, go there. I feel like that's an obvious answer, but for my own personal pick, I am going to go with the 3DS, mainly because I just love the software on this device so much. It is so much fun. I love Animal Crossing and all that stuff. The PlayStation Vita, it has some great games. It was left very early in its life cycle, which it really does suck for it because you kind of have to rely on a lot of homebrew because there are a lot of games on here that are great, but at the same time, this is just a much more fleshed out catalog of games. And of course, they both have homebrew and they both have their own strengths and weaknesses. Like, it does have a touchpad, but like it wasn't utilized very much compared to the 3DS. Of course, the touchscreen, and like not a touchpad, but the touch screen, it was used in like everything. It's hard to avoid anything without using the touch screen, really. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like. And also, if you disliked it, give it a dislike. Comment down below your thoughts. Are you a 3DS person or are you a Vita person? Now, there is no wrong answers for the comments. Please just pick one and let me know. I'll make sure to read it.